Balance Indoor Grand Prix press conference, which is appropriate enough because he's a world relay gold medalist from Doha, also the third fastest 400-meter hurdler of all time. And as an Englishman, it's right that I mentioned that his father was the terror in cricket of the England batsman as a strike bowler for the West Indies. It's a warm welcome to Rai Benjamin, who goes tomorrow in the men's 400 meters. And my question is, the rest of the lineup includes Winston George, Michael Norman, Vernon Norwood, Tyrrell Richards. For those of us that watch, it always looks crucial in indoor 400 meters that you get to the inside lane at the bell first. Otherwise, there's a lot of traffic to get around. What's your thinking about how that first lap has to unfold tomorrow? And you can take your mask off, thanks.
I hold this all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just to answer that question, I'm happy to be here, first of all. It's been a whole year since I've had a decent competition. But to answer that question, Michael and I have been going back and forth at practice this whole week. And the joke between us is, I hope you can swim because I'll take you to the deep end. So if we have to run like 20.2 coming through the first two, then you better hope you can hold on. But that's just a joke between the both of us. But it'll be interesting. We have our race plans, and it's just a matter of going out and executing that race plan. I haven't run an indoor 4 since college, so that's interesting. But I'm pretty excited for it.
Thanks, Rai. I can see Larry's already got his hand up, so kick us off, Larry.
Rai, great to see you. It's been obviously over a year since Doha 2019. How have you put that experience in perspective?
Oh, wow. It's crazy that we kind of lost an entire year because of this pandemic. Sometimes it feels like it's all been jumbled together, but Doha was very interesting. I would say that it was not one of my best track experiences. It was actually a very, very difficult navigating experience for me, being that it was my first world championship meet. I was battling like a really serious injury. So it wasn't like a grand old fun time for me as well. And it was just like different than what I expected, you know, in terms of like the audience and stuff like that. But it really helped mold me moving forward because I know that I can handle the adversity. And I mean, just to emerge from that meet with 2 medals, you know, I'm extremely grateful. But it was definitely a learning experience. And I think it's just one of those things where as a young athlete, I had to go through in order to set me up in the future.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Jonathan.
Hi, Rai. I know that last summer, you know, obviously it was a weird year for everyone. And your group, I mean, you raced that one meet down in Texas, but other than that, you guys didn't really compete at all. I'm curious why not. Like, there were some opportunities, obviously. Like, why decision to sort of basically not race outside that one meet?
We were definitely thinking about traveling, and just like all of us, not knowing how COVID-19 actually worked, we were really skeptical as a group, and we didn't want to put anyone at danger of, you know, contracting the virus and possibly dying, because, you know, when it first began, like, everyone was, you know, scared out of their minds, and we just simply didn't know how the virus worked. And, you know, just traveling overseas just didn't seem too enticing to risk possibly being sick and you know, jeopardizing the next year, because we just, you know, I've heard people complain about, you know, having like enlarging hearts and all this type of stuff post-COVID. So, I mean, we just collectively made the decision as a group and as coaching staff to just, you know, stay in country. You know, thankfully Nike and some other participants were able to put together that meet down in Texas for us. So that was ultimately the decision. We just didn't want to jeopardize, you know, our health just to run like 2 or 3 meets. We didn't think it was worth it at the time. So that was actually the whole rationale behind it.
Can I ask a quick follow-up? Do you feel now that you're that competing is safer? Like, has your mindset changed about competing now?
Yeah,
compared to last summer?
definitely. Yeah. I know the numbers have gotten significantly worse, but I think with all the CDC guidelines and new studies coming out, like double masking, and we have vaccines now and social distancing, I know now that it's definitely possible. So I feel a lot better about it. Before we were just kind of really like scared, because we didn't know what was happening. People were like walking around with like full PPP suits on, like it's just like it was crazy. But now I feel like it's definitely safe once you follow the guidelines and once you take the measures. I know here at the meet we were required to have a COVID test before coming. I came Thursday, I had a COVID test Monday, Tuesday, and then we had a COVID test upon arrival. So all the precautions are being followed. Everyone's wearing a mask, so I'm pretty confident about it now that I see that it can be done. And I think the NBA actually did a great job with their bubble, and if they can do it and have a successful season, then why can't we?
Eric?
Rai, good to see you, my man. Glad you're back in competition. Obviously, you and Mike shared with me, throughout the spring and the summer that it was hills and horse trails and the concrete jungle that is Los Angeles. But once you guys finally got back on the track, what have been the cues or the indications or the reassurances, validations that that you came out of that as a better athlete, stronger, and you and Mike are joking about taking each other to the deep end, but obviously you can't do that if you know the work hasn't been put in. So what are those reassurances you've seen that tells you there?
It's definitely been a readjustment. I can say this: there's nothing that you could do, I think, outside of running on the track that prepares you for actually running on the track. I think it's an entirely different beast. You can run on a treadmill all day, and you can go on an elliptical, you can run hills, but getting on that track and actually doing a workout is definitely an entirely different beast. Grateful, I'm really grateful to be able to we were able to get back at USC and get back on the track. And it's been some pretty hard ones. Coach Watts has been throwing us some roller coasters this fall and the beginning of this year, but it's been really good. We've had some really great practices, and running on those horse trails and in the street, it wasn't the track, but it definitely was beneficial in us staying fit. And it kind of overlapped into our training right now. So I feel really good with where I'm at personally. I think that I could definitely be a lot better, but for this point in time and this point in the season, I'm feeling really confident.
Andrea?
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the lack of competitions, and with that in mind, aside from winning tomorrow, what would be a victory here in terms of what are you hoping to learn? Just as you said, nothing substitutes running on the track. It seems for a lot of athletes, you really need to compete against, the best to see where you are. So what are you hoping to learn?
That's a really good question. I can't really put my finger on it. Just to learn how it feels again to run a really hot 4. I know it's going to be really fast, and just to take away probably like a new race pattern, a new sense of fitness, figuring out like I said, where I'm at this point in the year. I think that's definitely the takeaway from this weekend, and going back to LA and working on those things.
Thanks.
Larry?
Okay, Rai, this is the deep Zen question of the day. Are you a 400-meter runner who hurdles, or a 400-meter hurdle who dabbles in the 200 and 400 and 100?
I'm a 100-meter runner, actually.
Okay.
But I'm kidding. Honestly, I'll do it all. You know, if you give me the opportunity to compete, I'm definitely going to compete, and you know, I'm going to make it work, and you know, earn your spot, because you know, nothing really is given in this sport, and I just, you know, love doing all the events that are sprint based, no 800s. Just for the questions out there.
Won't ask that again. Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I love the sprints. I think I excelled very well in them coming out of high school and in college. I did sprint a lot, and it's part of my base. You know, a lot of 400 runners are distance-based runners, and I pride myself on excelling very well in the sprint. So I'm a 2-4 guy that can run the hurdles.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you.
And the 100 too, Coach Carroll, if you're watching this.
Thank you, Rai. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Very diplomatic answer there. Sieg Lindstrom from Track and Field News. You may be on mute. Sieg, we can't hear you.
Sorry, it was mouse issues there. Rai, you mentioned working on your race pattern. How applicable is the indoor 400 meters to a race pattern for either the outdoor 400 meter hurdles or flat 400? It seems like such a different race.
It's not at all. It's literally who gets to the break first and who gets to that 200 meter mark first. You know, luckily for me, I've run probably hundreds of indoor meets at this point in my career. I was at the Armory every other weekend in high school, ran a lot of indoor meets in college. So I know how to navigate around the track and, you know, how to get in and out of situations. But to your question, it does not mimic a race strategy. It's just I think for us, it's just basically fitness, seeing where we're at and what we can do at this point in the season. So that's honestly the end goal for this weekend.
Do you like running the indoor 400?
Would I have preferred to run it at this meet? Probably not. That's why I run a lot of 300s indoor usually if I come this way, because it's a little bit more fun and, you know, it's not as, you know, stressful. Like this is actually like a 400. You know, people are actually looking at the time for this, whereas a 300 you kind of get a bye because no one really understands the event, and it's not really a common event run in track and field. Yeah, I mean, it's if I would have had to choose, I would run a 3. But you know, I'm still excited to run the 4. Coach Watt said to run the 4, so we're running 4.
Thank you. And one last question, because I know, Rai, you've got to go and train. Amelia?
Hi, Rai. So I know we've got a long way to go until we get to Tokyo and the Olympics, but just knowing how strong the field is in your event, seeing that great race in Doha, even when you were dealing with that heel injury, how much does that excite you looking ahead to the summer, knowing just how strong that international competition is in the 400 hurdles and how big a part of that competition scene you are?
I'm really excited this year, especially because you know, it's coming up a lot quicker than we think. It's not Doha where it was like in, what was it, September? And we had like a bunch of races to get on our belt. Now at this point in this in time, it's a matter of, you know, who can be at their best by June, because I think that's what's gonna dictate things. I know there aren't a lot of 400 hurdles on the schedule for the Diamond League season, so that'll be interesting as well. But I'm definitely going to get after it early and see what I can do just in order to prepare me for, you know, U.S. trials and getting through the rounds in the Olympics. But I'm definitely excited for it. You know, it's going to be interesting. I want everyone at their best because, you know, I think that's when it's more exciting and it's more it's a lot more worth it. Worlds was definitely great, but we both weren't, I mean, all three of us, me, Samba, and Carson, we weren't at our best. And, you know, it was exciting to see, but it wasn't like, you know, that oomph wasn't there that everyone was looking for. So hopefully in Tokyo, it'll be that. Hopefully we can all go 46s and you know, put on a show for everyone.
Thank you so much, Rai. Let's hope you can put on a show for us tomorrow. You go off to training and we'll switch the camera off again very quickly. And I'm hearing that Sydney is going to be ready very shortly. So just everyone bear with us, and thanks, Rai.
Thank you. How are we going, guys?